Welcome to the 12th episode of the Honeybee Knits podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 12th, 2017. My name is Melissa and I'm coming to you from just north of Cincinnati. You can find me on Instagram as at honey_bee_knits, on Ravelry as Melissa1308, and also in our Ravelry group, the Honeybee Knits podcast group. You can also find me on Etsy as honeybeeknitsco.etsy.com. And in my shop right now, I have some project bags. I have some more stuff that I'm going to put up there after this podcast, but you'll have to wait until the end to see what that is if you're interested. Just going through today's agenda, I've got an FO, I've got some whips, I have some planned projects, lots of acquisitions as always. We have our shop of the week. We have pattern giveaway prizes. So if you've been participating in the threads in the Ravelry group, I've drawn 3 winners to select a pattern prize of their choice. We have group news. We have lots of knit-alongs in the group right now, and I'm really excited to talk about those a little bit. We have some coupon codes. I have a Ravelry question. And we have shop news and weekend review. So we've got a really big episode today. I have lots of content for you. Grab your knitting and your favorite snack and drink, and we'll go ahead and get started. And I have enough photo show. Don't adjust your TVs. This is not last week's episode. I did knit another pair of Rose City rollers out of the Crazy Zobber Ball. So I actually don't have the tag with me. But basically what Crazy Zobber Ball is it's a self-striping yarn. I showed it on the podcast last week. But the stripes are actually random, so it does show you on the ball band how the entire skein knits up, but most likely when you're knitting with Crazy Zobber Ball, you're not going to get an exact pair of matching socks. But my mom had purchased this yarn, and I can say this now because she's gifted the pair of socks I made last week. She purchased this yarn for me to knit a pair of socks for her friend Linda, who lives in Michigan, and I don't think she watches, but just in case. Hi, Linda. Linda is actually my godmother, and I'll tell a quick story about that. I know that typically godmothers are assigned when you're baptized, and for me, I actually wasn't baptized until I believe I was about 15. So when I was about 5, I had heard about godmothers. I don't know if I was watching Cinderella or something else and it reminded me of it, but I had asked my mom, do I have a godmother? And she said, no, you don't. And I said, but I want one. So, and I guess I threw kind of a fit about it. So she called up her best friend Linda and said, hey, my Melissa wants a godmother. Do you want to be her godmother? And she said yes, and I was so excited. So from then on, she has been my kind of self-proclaimed godmother. So she does live in Michigan, and I get to see her. I didn't see her for about 9 years or so. That's not true, about 8 years. And I did get to see her, I think, twice last year, so that was really exciting, and I'm hoping to get to see her again soon. So, anyway, my mom and my stepdad were going on a trip to the upper northern peninsula of Michigan to do some camping, and on the way back, they stopped and met up with Linda for her birthday, and they seem to have had a great time. I think they're still celebrating today because I believe they met up yesterday, and she got her socks. My mom sent me a video, and I'm going to ask permission of Linda with her socks, and I'm going to ask permission if I can insert that into the end of the podcast, and if not, I'll just cut this part out so you won't even know about it. But anyway, so here are the socks that I made with the second half of the ball of yarn for my mom. So I figured since she purchased the yarn, and Linda's favorite colorway is purple, and my mom's favorite colorway, I like how I say colorway. Linda's favorite color is purple, and my mom's favorite color is blue. So I thought this would be kind of cool for them to have a matching pair of socks. So these are Rose City rollers. And I'm not sure what colorway this is. I know Zobber Ball doesn't have colorway names, they just have numbers. And I did mention on my last podcast, so if you're interested in that, go check that podcast out. But you should be able to tell, like, if you're shopping for this color, you should be able to tell just by looking at the ball, because of the different colors that you see, how it's striped up. Anyway, these are Rose City rollers, and I knit these on 2.5mm needles. I knit them cuffed down. I did do them one at a time. I used to be a 2 at a time knitter, but I've learned that I kind of like the instant gratification of having one sock done really fast, as opposed to 2 socks twice a time. So I have switched to 1 at a time. So they start with it is a free pattern on Ravelry. And if you haven't knit these, you start with, you just cast on whatever number of stitches you need, and you just knit stockinette round and round for about 1.5 inches. You do a heel flap and gusset, you knit your foot, and I did a rounded toe with a Kitchener bind off. So it's a very simple, easy pattern to do. It's a very quick knit. It did take me a few days to do these just because I had the first sock finished, I think, last Wednesday when I podcasted. So I don't even know that I had it casted on when I podcasted last week. Maybe I did have it as a whip. I'm not sure. But so I finished one of these last Wednesday after the podcast, and I didn't knit again for like 3 or 4 days. So I just picked these up the other day. I think I finished these Saturday. Maybe it was Sunday. Monday. I finished these on Monday. So, yeah, very quick knit if you're looking for a quick, easy pair of shorty socks. Yeah, moving on. Alright, so I'm really proud of myself, guys, because that's like the 3rd, maybe 4th episode in a row. I think only 3, though, where I've had FOs. So that's exciting. It might be kind of boring for you guys because I believe they've all been socks. So I do apologize about that. I have a few more socks that you guys are probably going to be seeing before you see anything else. But I promise the shawls are coming. I am definitely in a shawl mood. So this is a work in progress, and it's in my studio in the green bag. And her bags are my favorite sock bags. Her and Freckled Whimsy have my favorite sock bags. So this is a drawstring bag, and she's actually the reason why I now love drawstrings. I didn't used to like them until I ordered one of her bags. So as you can see, they are designed for 2 at a time socks, but she did just announce on Instagram that she's coming up with a new design without the divider in the middle that would be perfect for 1 at a time socks. But for the 2 at a time, she's got these little snaps on the side where you can kind of run your yarn through each side so that when you're working 2 at a time, it doesn't get tangled. You put half of your skein on this side, half of your skein on this side, and then she's got this wonderful Notions zipper pouch in the middle. And when I take this on the go, I actually use that zipper pouch as a kind of a purse. So I put like my credit card, my license, my keys, and they all fit down in there. Chapstick, of course, you've got to have chapstick. But anyway, so it's got this beautiful little bird and feather print, and the inside has like these neon green flowers. I don't know if you can really see that. So you may have caught a glimpse of the yarn, but I'm working on this with my 2.5mm US 1.5 Knitter's Pride Nova Cubics Platina. And I do want to talk about these needles a little bit. Well, let me get into the sock first, and then I'll tell you about the needles. So this is my yarn. And it's in this, I've had a lot of questions about what it's in, and this is called a skein coat. And you can get this from Precious Knit Shop. I've showed them on the previous podcasts. But it basically just keeps your yarn together. Well, first of all, it decorates it, it protects it, and it keeps it from tangling and unraveling. I don't know about you, but when I knit from the center. And as I knit, this ball shrinks, and as it shrinks, it kind of collapses in on itself, and it starts to unravel on the back, and sometimes it can get tangled. So by putting it in this skein coat, it prevents that. So it keeps it nice and tight, and it keeps the end from unraveling and coming loose and tangling with your working yarn. So that being said, this is Desert Vista Dye Works in the Somebody's Eating Cotton Candy colorway. And I don't know if I mentioned, you can get this from Precious Knit Shop. She has an Etsy shop, and she also has her own shop. So if you Google Precious Knit Shop, her regular shop will come up. And then if you Google Precious Knit Shop Etsy, her Etsy shop will come up. But anyway, so Desert Vista Dye Works on the Sparkle base. I don't know if you can, yep, Sparkle in the Somebody's Eating Cotton Candy colorway. And here is my sock. And I love these. I can't believe it has taken me so long to knit this colorway up. Aren't these colors just amazing? I really love how it's actually a 8 stripe repeat. And the reason being is because even though the pink and the light blue is the same in both sections, she rotates. So this lavender color, she does a light one, dark one, light one, dark one, light one, dark one. And then also her zombie speckles, she has a dark one, a light one, a dark one, a light one, a dark one, a light one. So it's actually technically an 8 stripe repeat. So how cool is that? And these are just flying off. I cast these on yesterday afternoon, and I am now ready to put in my heel. So how I knit my socks, for those of you that don't know, I cast on the amount of stitches I need. Normally for socks, I cast on 68 stitches, but with Desert Vista Dye Works, I found that her yarn is a little bit heavier fingering weight. So I can cast on 64 stitches and it'll fit me just fine. And actually it fits me really good. And I did a 2x2 twisted rib, and it's not a true twisted rib because I did only twist the knit stitch, not the purl stitch. And I did that for 20 rows. And then I knit for 60 rows. And then I'm going to pop in a fish lips kiss heel. I'm going to knit for another 50 rows because that's my foot length with my gauge. And do a rounded toe bind off. So, and I do have my little sheep hiney from Ann Tudor. I'm sure you've seen these. They're all over Instagram, and it's adorable. So, that's that. I did want to mention, I was watching Knitting Expat podcast this week, and I didn't, she gave a really great tip that I want to share along to you guys if you don't watch her, which I'm sure you already do. But if you don't, or if you haven't seen her episode, I did want to tell you that with the, when you wind a skein into a cake, a lot of times, depending on your ball winder and your Swift, a lot of times the cake can be very compressed and compact. And what happens when it's tightly wound is that the nylon or the fiber itself becomes really tight. And the fibers kind of tense up, and you actually kind of lose some of that drape in your yarn. So, most of the time they recommend that you don't wind up a cake until you're ready to use it. Because if you wind up a cake and it sits there for months at a time, you'll lose some of that. Your yarn consistency is going to change. So what she recommended was that, and that's true for me for sure, when I wind up a cake, it is very tight. I don't know if you saw my last pair of socks I cast on, but it was a very, very tight skein cake. In fact, so this is the same size skein coat that I used for my last pair of socks, and I actually had room for the skein coat to kind of come up and over the top and the bottoms. And as you can see, the skein coat, you can still kind of see like about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on each side of the skein. But anyway, so what she recommends to do is that you wind it off the skein, off your Swift, onto your ball winder, and then you wind it again from your cake, from the cake that you have now, into another cake. And what that does is it really loosens up the cake, and it becomes really squishy, and it just gives the yarn room to breathe. It's not stretched out, and so you're not losing that kind of springiness of your yarn. So I tried it, and she's right. It's fantastic. And I would have no problem leaving something like this in a cake for months at a time if it's this loose. I will say that I have cakes that when I first started knitting, I didn't really have a stash, obviously, and I would wind everything I got as soon as I got it. And I still have some of that yarn that I haven't used yet, which it is a priority to find a project for those and use them. But so I have cakes of yarn that have been wound for 2 or 3 years. So, and it was done on an old crappy ball winder, and it is stretched to the max. So I don't even know, I don't want to say the yarn's not good anymore. I'm still going to use it, but it may just not give me the same consistency or drape that I'm looking for. But she did say that sometimes if you have a yarn that's been tensed up for that long, you can wind it back into a skein, which I have what's called a nitty knotty. I'll show it to you sometime if you don't know what that is. But you wind it onto the nitty knotty, which creates the skein. You soak it, and by soaking it, all the fibers relax, and it kind of goes back to its original state, and then you can wind it back up again. So on those skeins that I've been wound up for a few years, I think I'm going to try it, just because I want to make sure that whatever I'm knitting with it, and it's Matosh, so it's shawl yarn. It's yarn that I would use for shawls. So if it's a drapey shawl, I want to make sure that I still get that nice drape in my shawl, even though my fibers are all tensed up and stretched out. So anyway, there's that. So I want to talk about the needles. Again, I'm using Knitter's Pride Nova Cubics Plantina, and I didn't realize that I got the cubics when I ordered these. I don't know if all of the Knitter's Pride Plantina are cubics, but I thought that they were round. So I don't know if you can tell, but these are actually, you can't really tell, but they're square. So square needles have become more and more popular. I know that they were just starting, I don't know if they were just starting to come out, but just starting to become popular when I started knitting. And I was like, who in the heck would want a square needle? Well, I accidentally ordered these. I thought they were round, and I tried them out, and I actually love them. This is my 3rd pair of socks on them. I really love working with these. I don't notice that they're square. I think the needles are okay. They have a nice point, so they're really good for socks. But I think I really love the cable. I think that's what I love about these, is the cable. I will say, though, the way I hold my needle, I don't know, I don't think you can tell. Which one is it? Let me find out. I can't tell now. I think it's this one. It's this one. I don't know if you can tell. And no, you can't. Maybe there. Right there. So it's actually bending because of the way I hold my needles. They're not very sturdy. They're easily bend. Oh yeah, there you go. See? See? They just bend right up, and I kind of try to straighten them out a little bit. So they straighten right back up, but I am afraid that they're going to break eventually because of that. And the way I hold my needle is like this. So it presses up against this heel part of my hand, and it actually is kind of bending to it. And actually that's why I like that Chiagu red lace needles, is because they've got that natural bend at the bottom, and it just fits right over that area. So that is one thing to consider if you're looking at purchasing these. But other than that, they were a great price. I think they were $7 or $8. Actually, I got them for free because I had a Jimmy Beans wool credit, but I know that they're about $7 or $8. So they're really affordable, and I really like them. I wouldn't mind having a couple more pairs. This is a 32-inch cable. I really love the cable, especially for socks, for magic loop socks. And I haven't had any problems with the point. The join is fantastic. I have had no problems with this join, which is something I can't say for a lot of sock needles. I have the Knitter's Pride Melodies. No, technically they're Knit Pro Melodies or Knitter's Pride Melodies or Knit Pro Zings. I had the Knit Pro Zings in sock needles, and I talked about them before. I'm not a fan. They're not very pointy on the ends, and I have a problem with the join. So I do use them because I like the colors and I like the cord. But I'm not a fan of the join, and I'm not a fan of the tip. So they're not like my go-to sock needles. But anyway, so there's that project. That was a lot of rambling about that. Okay, the next whip I'm really excited to show you. And I haven't showed it for a long time, and it's got cat hair on it. But this is one of my original prototype bags for my beehive bag for my shop. So this bag is huge. I've got a huge cake of yarn in here, and I have plenty of room left. But anyway, so I wanted to show you. Do you guys remember this? If you've been with me from the beginning, you remember my massive 4-something ounce ball of yarn. These are just scraps. The ball's kind of falling apart now, but I just magic knotted a bunch of yarn together, a bunch of scraps, and created a huge ball of yarn. So I showed before that I had started crocheting a blanket, and remember I showed it and it was like wavy because my chain was too tight, and I recast it on. I don't know if with crochet it's called casting on or chaining on or whatever, but I redid it. I made it longer. I did it with a bigger hook. I loosened it up, and I liked it, but it was looser, but it still had that wave. And I don't know if it was because of the yarn weight. I am using all fingering weight, but some of it's heavier than others, or what. But I just wasn't in love with it, and because I wasn't in love with it, I wasn't working on it. So I frogged it, and I started a new crochet blanket, and this time I did the corner to corner, and I love it, you guys. I can't even put into words how much I love this. I love it so freaking much. So I looked up, and I have the information. So I looked up the pattern on YouTube. I'm not a crocheter, guys. I can do like a crochet bind off or a crochet cast on. I can chain, and I can do this. Now I can. My friend had taught me how to do the last two that I had started. But other than that, that was my experience with crochet. So this is the How to Crochet the Corner to Corner Blanket by Bella Coco on YouTube, and she has a fantastic tutorial on how to do it. And what I like about the tutorial is she does repeat the steps over and over again on the video. She doesn't like fast forward through them, so if you missed it, you don't have to rewind and go back. She shows it again and again and again. So I am so in love with this. I started this last night. I haven't shown it on Instagram because I kind of wanted it to be a surprise for the podcast because I'm so proud of it. Oh, look, I'm singing like Levi. Holy crap. Hi, Levi. You've got me singing on my podcast now. Thanks. But anyway, I love it, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I can't wait to... I'm almost caught up to the point where my first one was. So my second one, I got to about here, and all this that's wound around here is what I had to my second one, so we'll get there. But anyway, I started it last night. It's a really quick project. I crocheted this. It took me about 45 minutes to get this blue done, just because I was learning. But the more I went along, the faster it went. The only thing that I'm concerned about, and I've been told that you can't change this, but I'm going to put it out there anyway for you crocheters, because I want to know. I don't like the look of square blankets. Not the look of them. When I want a blanket, I want it to cover me head to toe, or well, at least neck to toe. And with square blankets, typically, if you do that, they're going to be ginormous, which is fine. I can make this a huge blanket. I don't mind. But my question is there a way to do the corner to corner blanket? But is there some sort of stitch or something I can do? Like when I am happy with the width of this, is there something I can do for a while to make it a rectangular, or once you start corner to corner square, is it going to be a square? That's my question. So if you could respond in the chatter thread and let me know, I'd really appreciate it. Or even in the comments below, or message me on Ravelry or Instagram. You know how to get a hold of me. I would really love to know, because that is something that is the only thing that I'm kind of hesitant on with this corner to corner. But one thing I do love more about this than the straight back and forth is that, first of all, right now you can finish a row in like a few minutes. But is that the way the colors are working out. I think that I get more of a, I think it shows off the colors a lot better. When I did the other one, you could barely see this blue because it was wrapped up in the chain in most of the first row. So there wasn't a whole lot of it to see. So I'm really happy that it really shows off the colors better. So this is Lolo Did It. And I'm not sure what colorway it is, but I used, it might be her Don't Stop Believing colorway. But I used this in my So Faded sweater, and I think I'm lying. I used this in my Find Your Fade shawl. And then this one is a Homespun House. I'm not sure what colorway it is. I got it in a mini swap. I have Desert Vista Dye Works. This is Haiku. I used this for a Michelle Knit Pearl Hunter Knit Along I did a few years ago. More Desert Vista Dye Works, and then Lorna's Laces. And then this, I can't remember the name of it, but I used to be subscribed to Yarn Box, and it was a Yarn Box subscription yarn that I knit a circular shawl out of. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it looks really nice, and I'm excited to continue working on it. I'm just using like a regular cheap hook. I got a set on Amazon. This is a 4.5mm hook. And that's another thing I liked, is that by doing this, I could use the hook that I was going to make the whole blanket out of for the cast on. I didn't have to, because there was really no cast on. I didn't have to switch to a bigger hook to get a looser gauge. But I bought this set on Amazon, I think, for 10 bucks. It says Lehio. I'm not sure. I'll just show you. And it's got a ton of different crochet hook sizes. I don't crochet, so again, I didn't need anything expensive. And I did want a few different sizes because I wasn't sure what I was going to need. So I found this on Amazon and I purchased it, and it came with a nice little carrying case. And I also have spinning to show. You guys, I did it. I told you guys that I wanted to have at least half of that braid spun by today's podcast, and I did it. So here's what I have left. So I really, really love how this is spinning up. This is some fiber that mystery fiber. I don't know what it is, but some sort of animal fiber. I dyed it up about 2 years ago, and I really love how it's working out. I absolutely love it. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I have not been spinning for very long. I've only been spinning on a wheel since January or February. And so far, I've only spun wools that I've dyed because I didn't want to use my really nice fiber that I purchased because I didn't want to mess it up. But I'm getting to a point where I think I'm doing really well, if I do say so. I feel like that's, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of hard to tell. I'm becoming really consistent. And my goal was to be able to spin fingering weight yarn to make socks out of. So I think this is it. I think this is going to be my first skein that's going to be fingering weight once it's plied, because it's about a lace weight right now. It might be a heavy fingering in some spots, but I think I'm going to be able to make socks out of this. So I'm really excited, and I really love it. This is my jumbo bobbin off my National Custom Spinworks spinning wheel. I put some videos and photos up on Instagram for those of you that are interested. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. It is an all aluminum wheel, so it's very different from your traditional spinning wooden spinning wheels, but it is a production wheel. So the bobbins are ginormous so that you can fit more fiber onto one bobbin. So this is what I have left of that braid, and I'm really excited to get to these white parts. I have some white in here, but it's covered up so you can't really see it. But I really love when I get to twist these light parts with these dark parts, like the purple, and there's some blue spots too, because like right here, it just makes a really cool effect on the yarn, and it's gonna look really cool when it's plied up together. So yeah, that's my spinning this week, and I'm really proud of myself because I told you I wanted to have at least half of it spun, and I did it. Even though my goal was to spin an hour a day, and by the end of it, I think so 7 days since I podcasted, I only spun, I think, 6 hours. So there was a few nights that I skipped and a few nights that I did longer to make up for it. So in the end, I was able to spin up half of it. So by next week, I don't want to set a goal too high because I still want to get my 7 hours of spinning in. Because you guys are probably, if you're a spinner and you're interested in my spinning, you guys are tired of seeing this because it's the only spinning I've showed, I think, since I started the podcast, other than some old stuff that I did. So, you guys are tired of seeing it. I love the colors, and I'm not really tired of the colors, but I have so many nice fibers. Look at that beautiful bat right here. Whoop. I want to spin something else, and I don't want spinning to become a thing like it is with knitting, where I start it and then I never finish it. So, because with spinning, you can't really frog it, I don't think. So, I'm trying to only do one at a time, which is really hard because there's a lot of temptation, guys. If you go into my Ravelry stash, I not only have my yarn on there, but I also have my fiber on there, so you can see all the different fibers I have, and I have some really nice stuff, and I'm really excited to use it. I just need to get to it. So anyway, I want to spend 7 hours spinning this week, and I think I should be able to get through half of this. So I should be able to have 3/4 of the whole thing spun by the next time you see me. Exciting. I think this is like 2.5 ounces, but I'm a slow spinner, so don't judge me on the amount of ounces that are left. Yeah. So that brings me to planned projects. So this is kind of a segment that I've been adding over the last couple podcasts, and I really like it because it kind of keeps me accountable and on track, so I'm gonna keep doing it. So but the one thing is that if you guys are probably going to be hearing the same stuff every week. Hopefully each thing is in a different stage. So for example, if I say I'm going to plan something today and cast it, and I end up casting it on this week, next week it'll be a whip. The week after it might be a whip again or an FO. So you guys might see it a couple podcasts in a row. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I like showing the progress. And this podcast, I started it for me. And it was a way for me because I was so excited about the stuff I had and the stuff I was making. And I wanted to share it. And I have some people that want to listen, but I wanted to share it with more people. So that's why I started the podcast, is I really wanted to share with you guys. So I think it's fun to show you the progression of the thought process of purchasing the yarn and picking a project and planning to knit the project and then knitting it and then wearing it or finishing it or whatever, finishing it and wearing it. So I think it's a lot of fun to be able to share that with you guys. So it's my podcast and I'm going to do it because I can. Sorry guys, I got a phone call, so I got a little distracted. But anyway, so my planned projects for July into August are the Canterlot fingerless mitts. Those are going to be the next cast on that I do. my husband has now demanded socks, which he's never been interested in my sock knitting. I mean, he likes seeing the socks, but he doesn't wear socks. He wears flip-flops in the wintertime while shoveling snow. So I'm not exactly sure why he wants socks, but he's asked for some no-show socks in the Seahawks colors, which are green and blue. So I have some yarn picked out to knit him some socks. So that'll be my cast on after the Canterlot mittens. And then also my Sorrento shawl, which I talked about on, I believe, the last podcast when I showed my acquisitions. So those are the 3 patterns that I plan to cast on between now and August. I might throw some more in there. Obviously, I'll have my August Desert Vista Dye Work socks. But other than those, I'm hoping to focus on my whips, because I have a ton of whips, which I'm going to talk about that more in a second. I have some really exciting news about whips. So anyway, those are the 3 planned projects. And so now I'm going to move into acquisitions. Yay! This is always a big segment for me. It's really exciting. And I know I've said this before, but this time I really mean it. So after about August, I'm probably not going to have, or after the next 2 or 3 podcasts, I'm not going to have as many acquisitions. Like I said before, it's getting to the point where I'm becoming to feel really guilty about the yarn, because I have so much great yarn that I want to use, and it's becoming literally a hoarding problem, which I know a lot of people would say it's not a good thing, or is a good thing when it comes to yarn. You can never have too much yarn. But for me, it's actually causing me some anxiety and starting to stress me out a little bit. So the one thing I want to say is I do feel a little bit guilty, though, because I purchase from a lot of indie dyers and small businesses, and I really still want to be able to support them. Just, I love the products and they're beautiful, and I will purchase some yarns for the podcast as giveaways, but I'm just not going to be purchasing as much as I have previously. And again, it's just because the quantity of yarn I have is ridiculous, which I will talk about in the shop knit along news. But we have the Stash Down 2017, and I have 406 skeins of yarn. That's including the acquisitions I'm going to show today, but not including the acquisitions that are still going to be coming in, which I do have a few. Not as many as I have on the past 2 or 3 episodes, but I do have a few coming in, so there's that. Anyway, so let's get into acquisitions. Okay, so the first acquisition I want to show is something it's a really neat idea. So it's actually a spinning acquisition, so it is fiber related, and it's from Nunoko on Etsy, and it's www.nunoko.com. And I think they do have a few more of these kits still left. At least last time I checked, I think about half a week to a week ago, they still had this. And this is called Nunopoly. And the idea behind this is it's modeled after Monopoly. Sorry for the rustling. A Monopoly board. So, there's 2 ways you can spin this up. So first of all, they give you all this fiber. And you start at go here. So you can either start at go and work your way, actually I think that's backwards, yeah. And start at go and work your way around the board by spinning the fiber. Or you can roll dice. So you can, so you start at go, and then from there you roll. So say I spun up go, and then I rolled a 6. So the next thing I would spin would be Spindle Street, which is, let's see, this orange one right here. So I think the idea behind this is to spin up one giant skein of yarn. But yeah, so it's really cool. It's like spinning Monopoly. And they gave me this envelope. And in this envelope, which is all sparkly, which I love, very creative, there's a thank you from Candy and Beth, which are the owners. So it has Bank of Nonoco. It's 10% off your next order, which I'm not going to really show up close because I don't, the voucher orders for me. Also, Bank of Nonoco, here's a free 50-gram sample of Sari Silk with your next order. And then I've also been entered into a prize draw to win 2 50-gram bat droppings. And they've also sent this adorable stitch marker. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a little dice. How cute is that? So those are your community chess and chance cards. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that'll be fun to spin up. And I'm just going to show you, again, sorry for the rustling, the different fibers. Oh, that is so pretty. So here's some brown and blue. That's Go. And the names are so creative. And these are all, that is 21 micron merino and silk. This is 23 micron merino bamboo flax, and it's called Nitty Naughty Lane. And then we have Bobbin Drive, which is 23 micron merino flax and tussa silk. That's Bobbin, I don't know if I said Bobbin Drive. And then there's the corner here is You Can Do It. And it's 21 micron merino and silk. And I love this one. So pretty. Lazy Kate Avenue, which is 23 micron merino and mulberry silk. So there's the color. Spindle Street, 23 micron merino mulberry silk. And then Halfway House, which is 21 micron merino silk and Firestar. So this one is got Firestar in it, which makes it sparkly. We have Fleece Street, which is 23 micron merino bamboo tussa silk. And I love how the colors go with the Monopoly board. And then Woolly Way, which is 23 micron merino, Blueface Luster, Soya, and tussa silk. And that's a beautiful yellow. I don't think I've seen yellow like that before in fiber. And then You're Nearly There. And that is 21 micron merino and silk. And Roving Road, 23 micron merino flax, tussa silk. And this green, that's one of my favorite shades of green. I say I'm not a green fan, but I have a lot of green that I love. So, and then there's Batty Boulevard, which is 23 micron merino bamboo flax. So I really love this, and I'm excited to spin it up. Not sure, it's probably going to go into my stash for a while, so I'm probably not going to spin it up for a while, but, and I don't know for sure how many ounces this is. I think each one was 10 grams. I'm not 100% sure, but the details are on their Etsy shop if you want to check it out. But I really love this, and I'm excited to spin it up, and I want to do it right away, but I have a lot of spinning fiber, and there's some other stuff that I really want to do too. So I don't know how to make that decision. I might, you know how people put their like, crap. You know how people put their mini skeins like in a grab bag and they just like randomly draw one out? I'm not doing that for my scrappy projects. Well, I do that for my... So, if you've seen... I'm going out on tangents today, I'm sorry. But anyway, so if you've seen my scrappy knit blanket, the one with the mitered squares, my Cozy Memories blanket, if you've seen that, half of my blanket is actually yarns that I've used in projects, and the other half are minis that I've received in swaps or I purchased. And the ones for the projects that I've finished, I do those in order that I finish them. But the ones for the ones I've purchased or received in swaps, those ones I do randomly. So you know how people do that with their minis? I thought about, like, not with yarn, because yarn's different because you have to pick a project for it. But for spinning fiber, I thought about numbering all my spinning fiber and then just randomly picking a number or a random number generator to pick one for spinning. I think that would be kind of fun and cool. And it's a good way to not be too biased with the colors that I spin, so I'm not always spinning the same colors. And also the different makers or companies of spinning fiber. I might have to do that. And that way too, I don't always pick braids or always pick bats. That's a good thought. I'm probably going to do that. We'll see. Again, sorry for the rustling. I have some more acquisitions. There I go singing again, Levi. Look what you did to me. I'm not a singer. Jeez. Anyway, so, first acquisition is my, well, I'll start with this one because it's June. My June Yarn of the Month Club from Cozy Knitter. Oh, spoiler alert. If you haven't received your June Yarn of the Month Club from Cozy Knitter and you don't want to see it, look away. So this is my June colorway. And this is called Ocean View. And I like this one. It's not really my colors, but I will knit it. My mom loves blue, so either I'll give this to her to knit or I'll knit her a pair of socks out of it. Most likely I'll knit it for her because she doesn't have a lot of knitting time. But this is Ocean View, and it's on her Bliss base. And it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. She gives you 115 grams. So she gives you 85 grams for the main skein and 30 grams for the mini for heels, cuffs, and toes. And her base is so soft and squishy, and I love it so much. I love it. So, yeah, that's the Cozy Knitter. June, you won't be able to get this for at least 6 months if you don't subscribe to her monthly club, which I do. And her club is set up a little bit different, just because not a whole lot of indie dyers have clubs where they automatically charge you every month and then you just cancel when you don't want it anymore. But she does. So every month she automatically charges me. I don't have to deal with signing up again or anything like that. And she sends it to me. So I'm really happy with her colors so far. I think this is my third one. Maybe it's my second one. But I love her yarn. So this is one that I plan on doing for a while. The next one is my Vivid Yarn Studio July Yarn of the Month Club. So if you have not received your July Yarn of the Month from Vivid Yarn, look away. This is her colorway for July, and it's called Seahorse. And it's 70. I always get sparkle with her. So 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, 438 yards per 3.5 ounces or 100 grams. So I don't know what it is about Canada, but they have the most amazing dyers in Canada. Like, I swear, Vivid, the Cozy Knitter, Yarn Enabler. Oh, there's so many. But anyway, so this is called Seahorse, and I don't know if you remember my June Yarn of the Month colorway from her, but it was called Sea Glass. And I didn't get May or any of the other ones this year, so I started with June. So I'm not sure if she has like a sea theme. So I think next month, if in August she sends me another sea themed one, I would say yes, it's a sea theme. So she also sent me this stitch marker, which is so pretty, and it matches the yarn perfectly. And there's her card, some David's tea, and this is Cream of Earl Grey. And I love David's tea. Last month she sent me a cantaloupe flavor. Oh my god, it was so good. So good. I love David's tea. So, again, sorry for the rustling. So those are my 2 Yarn of the Month clubs. I have 2 boxes. So let me tell you about I still have lots of acquisitions to show, but before I get into that, let me tell you about some of the yarns that I have coming. I have 2 boxes coming from Yarn Enabler. I have 2 boxes coming from Yarn Enabler for her. She does a 2-month club box, so she only does 1 box every 2 months. So I have her April, May colorway colors, and I have both the white wine and sangria coming because I couldn't decide. And that's one that was like a special treat. I'm not doing her Yarn of the Month every time. I like her yarn a lot, but it's not my favorite. I love her sock monkeys, and I love her pencil socks, but it's not like my dog farted. It stinks so bad. Anyway, I love her pencil socks and I love her sock monkeys, but I found that her other yarn that I purchased, it's not my go-to. So it's just something that I'm going to be doing just so that I can kind of get a collection of her pencil sock colorways, but it's not something I'm going to do all the time. So that is coming in the mail. I also have my July Yarn of the Month from Cozy Knitter coming. I have some more yarn from Arkansas Yarn Company, which I have a lot of her yarn to show in a minute. I'm so excited, guys. It's an amazing package. So anyway, I have some more Arkansas Yarn Company coming. I have some more Sparkling Seaweed coming. I have some Pneumatic Yarns coming. I have, what else? I think that might be it. Let me check. I think that's it. I do have the O Loops Harry Potter knit-along yarn that's going to come, but I believe, I think that is not going to be shipped out for quite a while. I'm not 100% sure how that works because I've never done it before, but I'm almost positive that that's not going to be shipped out for a while. And also, I just watched The Grocery Girls yesterday, and they enable me so bad, but I'm proud of myself. I only purchased one thing. It probably was one of the most expensive things they showed, but I don't know if you watched their latest episode, but they showed those socks that have the print on them, and I don't know how to explain it, and I can't remember the name of the shop, but once I get it in, I will show it. You just knit a sock, but as you knit, without changing color, like the way she dyes it, she dyes prints that just, anyway, I don't know how to explain it. Go watch The Grocery Girls. They show it, and I got the sheep one, green with the sheeps, so go check it out because that's really cool. So I'm gonna have that coming again. That's not gonna be for a while because I think it takes a while to ship, but anyway, so but that's all the yarn that I purchased. Those things is all that I have coming in this month. So after those come in, there's not going to be a whole lot else coming in unless I buy one-off skeins from like Lolo did it. Lolo just came out with some more football colorways. I do want them. I will get them, but in a few months when I can prove to myself that I can stash down a little bit because, like I said, too much. Anyway, so The next one I have, when I was planning for my Sorrento shawl, I was kind of stress shopping, and I wasn't exactly sure the combination that I wanted. The yarns that I already showed you from Handmaiden are definitely going to be a Sorrento shawl, but I also purchased this combination, and unless I find another 3-color shawl that I think I want to use these in, this will be a second Sorrento shawl. Not bad. I haven't even knit the first one. I'm already planning a second one, but they will most likely be gifts, if that's any consolation. Anyway. Look. So somebody was doing this color combination as a giveaway on their either podcast or shop or something on Instagram. I'm sure you've seen it. And I was like, that would make an amazing Sorrento shawl. So I found a shop that had all 3 colorways in it, and I purchased them. So this is Hedgehog Fiber Sock, and it is 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. This is Dusk, and it's a tonal pink colorway. And then there is Whisper, which is a lighter pink tonal colorway, but it does have a little bit of like beige tones in it. And this is Cheeky, which is a speckled colorway. So I think this would make a beautiful Sorrento shawl. And unless I find another 3-color shawl that I have to have, this is going to be that. I might look at some Hohi's patterns, or maybe Drea Renee Knits patterns, to see if I can find another 3-color shawl that I really want to work in this. But the problem is that I want a shawl that's not going to be like stripy with these colors. I like the Sorrento shawl because it has the big chunks of color in it, but it's like integrated well so it doesn't look out of place. I don't know. Go take a look at the Sorrento shawl by Marcia Ibuki from the Fairy Little podcast, and you'll see what I mean. So yeah, there's that. So I purchased those from Les Montagnes Rouge Knittery. Maybe it's Rouge Knittery. Les Montagnes Rouge Knittery. And it's Kelly Norby is the owner. It's in Bloomington, Illinois. And I'm going to show you the card. And she sent me some extra stitch markers. And I thought it was adorable because the stitch markers, I don't know if she planned this or if it's just the color she gives to everybody, but the stitch markers totally match the project, so I'm going to be using those. So yeah, she had them all in stock, so I purchased from her. The next acquisition that I have, and I'm not going to cry this time, I promise, but I love her. This is Lori on Instagram. I gave her Instagram name in last week's podcast, but she owns Arkansas Yarn Company on Etsy. So she sent me this little card, and she sent me a package. I had purchased a few of her yarns, and she sent me some extra goodies. So first of all, she sent me, and I'm not sure if she made this or if somebody else made this, but it's so beautiful. It's a knitted pouch, and you could use it for notions and whatnot, with a little button on it, and inside were some teas, which I love tea. So we have Waldsberry. Oh yeah, these are a different language. I have no idea. I can't pronounce these, so I'll just show them. If you know what brand of tea these are, on the back it says Wild Berries. So if you know what brand of tea these are, do you know if they're like German or I don't know. What language is this? Wild Berries, Peppermint, and I can't read this, but I think it's Hibiscus. If you can read this, let me know what it says. I can't really smell anything, so I don't know what it smells like. But anyway, I love tea. So those will be added to my tea stash. And so first of all, I purchased, if you recall my blubbering episode from last week. Oops, this one's coming undone. But if you recall my blubbering episode from last week, she dyed up a colorway for me, inspired by my dog, Root Beer. And she named it Root Beer. And I purchased the other 2 skeins from her. So I have something really cool planned for this, and I think we're going to do a collaboration, so stay tuned for that. It won't be probably until, for me, I don't know if she'll have the yarn in her shop before then, but this is probably not, I'm not going to be ready for the collaboration until probably about September, so yeah, I'm excited about that. I got 2 more of those. And then I also purchased, oh my gosh, I've been eyeing these in her shop for a long time, and I decided to just get them because, oh my gosh, her yarn is amazing, guys. She has like this high twist base, and her sparkle is very sparkly, but anyway, so I can't say enough about her yarn. I don't know how she's just starting out, so she doesn't have a whole lot of, she has a lot of followers, but she's still like trying to grow her business. And if you have not checked out her yarn, you need to do it, because this is some of the best yarn I've ever felt. And I can't wait to cast it on and work with it. This reminds me of like, I'm trying to think of what yarn. It reminds me of a really high quality yarn like Lorna's Laces, or I'm trying to think, who else has a base like this? I don't even. It has a similar base to Vivid Yarn Studio, actually. So if you've ever tried Vivid Yarn Studio, this is what it reminds me of. And I love it. I love Vivid Yarn. And her colors are amazing. And she has so many good inspirations. Like, for example, my yarn is well, not my yarn, but there's the Root Beer colorway. She said this was modeled after her door colorway on her house. Like, she has a door this color. Like, if I had a front door this colorway, like, what? I would be the coolest person in the neighborhood. But anyway, so Arkansas Yarn Company, this is called Blackberries. And it's like this really dark black color, but it has these purple tints to it. She has this one, which I think is called Princess Rose Garden. Let me look. Yeah, Princess Rose Garden. This is her sparkle base. And then this one, which is Lime in My Gin. Oh, this one is Wild Blackberries. This is Lime in My Gin. So originally I was looking at doing like a 3-color cashmere shawl or cowl, probably a shawl out of this. But I don't know. Any 3-color pattern, this is going to look so amazing together. So I really can't wait to start this and cast this on, because I really want to work with her yarn. Probably after the Sorrento shawl. No, because, you guys, she's sending me another package. She messaged me yesterday, and I think it's going out either today or it went out yesterday. It's super secret. I can't tell you, but I'm so excited about it, and I'm gonna have to cast something on with it almost as soon as I get it. You guys are gonna be like crazy over this. So I am crazy for her yarn. She is such a great person, and I talk to her almost every day. Actually, I think I have talked to her every day on Instagram. We've connected really well. And I was telling her, I was like, I feel like I've known her for a really long time, even though I've only known her for a few months. So go check out her yarn. It's definitely worth giving it a shot. She has some really pretty colorways out there. She has a snow cone colorway out there right now. So listen, she has 2 new colorways that she dyed up. She's creating every day. She actually has, I think, 4 or 5 new colorways that she came up with this week that she told me about, but some of them are super secret, so I can't talk about them. But she has 2 new colorways. One is called Rainbow Snow Cone. You guys, look at this. You guys have to go check that out. Rainbow Snow Cone. And then this is the one I purchased because I had to have it. Saltwater Taffy. And she was like, do you want this on the sparkle base? And I was like, yeah. So she dyed up some on the sparkle base. She's an amazing person. She is so cool. So I love this dyeing technique. I'm not sure how she does it, but it is she sold out of this, I think, twice already. She has, I think, 2 or 3 skeins of this in sparkle. I don't know if you can see. There we go. On her website, right on her Etsy shop right now. Go check it out. The name's up there, Arkansas Yarn Company. So if you're lucky enough to get one of these, my gosh. I mean, come on. I can't wait to get it. It's so pretty. Yeah, go check her out. You need to do it. Sorry, guys. I was texting Levi again. I seriously can't get off Instagram. I met so many great friends on there, and I love talking to all of you guys. Like Levi and Lori and Shelby and Jack. Like, those 4 people, like, I talk to them almost every day, or at least through comments and stuff. And also Laura from Knit for Brains. Like, these people, the people in this community, man, I can't even say how amazing it is. And I'm so happy for technology because it brought us all together through YouTube and Ravelry and Instagram, and I love it. So anyway, so that is my Arkansas Yarn Company acquisition this week. She is she was our yarn of the our shop of the week last week. So I'm gonna say she's our shop of the week this week too, even though I have another shop of the week as well. Just because last week I didn't have all this yarny goodness to show you, and all I was able to show you was the root beer colorway, which was still amazing. But you really need to go check out her shop, like now, so that you can get some of her yarn, because it is going to sell out fast because she only has small quantities right now. But she is dyeing up like a mad woman, and she is so creative. So, yeah, you go check her out. It's amazing. Another, so I have 3 favorite shops right now, and Arkansas Yarn Company is one of them. My other one is Sparkling Seaweed, because I keep talking about them, and that's Shelby from, yes, that's Shelby on Instagram and Ravelry and the Defiant Knitter podcast, and she's the dyer behind Sparkling Seaweed and also the maker behind Blueberry Hill Soaps. So the first thing I purchased from her is Gracie on DK. Because if you'll remember 2 podcasts ago, I showed her Gracie on her, I believe it was her Tasman sock, and I was going to knit her Canterlot mittens out of it. However, I didn't read the pattern and it's DK, so I just ordered DK as well. So these are what my Canterlot mittens are going to be out of, and this is 100% Merino Superwash 4-ply DK, 230 yards for 100 grams. Woo! Said that really fast. And also, so when I bought Gracie on the Tasman sock, I had posted an Instagram post begging you guys to go out and buy these other colorways, so I didn't do it. So I didn't purchase those as well, and I didn't at the time. But when I purchased the DK, I was like, let me throw this in my cart. So I also purchased this one, which is one of my favorites from her, and it's called Party of Fish. And oh my god, these colors, these are right up. These speckled, I love speckled yarn so much. So you have purples, and you have greens, and you have, of course, the pinks and the blues, and it's all on a teal base. You can't go wrong with this colorway. I think she has a few in her shop, so go check it out right now. Actually, I think she has all these in her shop because I think she's dyed to order business now. So, and she does dye them up pretty quickly too. So I don't think you have to wait like 5 weeks to get it like you do for Nomadic Yarns or Desert Vista Dye Works. However, that might change because she's becoming really popular. So, better go get it now. She came up with a new colorway. Again, her speckles. And I don't know where she gets her. Obviously, she gets her inspiration from the ocean, but this is called Dirty Beach. I wonder if she had this. I wonder if she had the name before she dyed the colorway, because if I was just dyeing this up, I don't think I ever would have thought to put this brown in with these colors. But when you put them in there, it looks amazing, and the Dirty Beach is the perfect colorway. Although, I wouldn't call this Dirty Beach. I would call this, like, Beautiful Beach or something like that, because, oh my god, the speckles. I love this colorway. Love it. So I have it. I also ordered her Pride colorway. She had a Pride colorway that she just came out with, but I haven't received it yet. She's going to be sending that soon. It was dyed to order. And she sent me, or I purchased, this was one of the first ones I purchased from her, but it was dyed to order. This, and I didn't mention the Dirty Beach was also on Tasman Sock, but this is called Poseidon. And it's blue and green. How could you not love this? You know who needs to see this colorway is Mina Phillip of the Knitting X Pack, because she loves, why did I say blue and green? It's purple and green. She loves blue and green and purple and green together, so this colorway reminds me a lot of her. But I purchased one for you guys, so this will be in one of our giveaway packages. Not sure which one yet, but it will be a giveaway. So yeah. And also she sent me this seahorse. Ooh, I got 2 seahorse stitch markers now. This is a progress keeper. And she sent one for you guys too, because she heard me say that this was purchased for a podcast giveaway. So whoever wins this year will also receive that progress keeper. She has the cutest progress keepers. Look at the little eyes on the seahorse. Oh, you can't tell. Well, anyway, there's that like a little diamond crystal eye. So she had also come up with a new loyalty program, and for every skein of yarn, and I can show you on this one because it's on here for the winter, but every skein of yarn you purchase, she puts one of these little stickers on there. And you take that sticker and you put it on like a business card or a receipt or something from her. And once you get 10, you send it in for a free skein of yarn. So, as you can see, I have 6. It's crazy. But, she does backdate it to your previous purchases. So, if you've made a purchase from her previously, and so when she sends you your new purchase, she'll send you the extra stickers from your other purchase. So, I have 6. So, I only need to purchase 4 more skeins, and then I get a free one, which is, I love free stuff, so that's perfect. And it's so creative. So thank you, Shelby, very much for this package. I love your yarn. And if you guys want some, go get it now, because it's going to sell out quick. So I have one more package, and there's going to be crinkling. I'm sorry, but I don't want to take these out because I haven't decided which one I'm keeping and which one I'm giving away yet. Ugh. I was contacted on Ravelry about, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, from one of the owners of Spoiled Greyhounds of the North, and they said they wanted to send me a giveaway prize for my podcast, and I was like, you don't have to, but absolutely. So I would appreciate it. So they did. They sent me 2. They sent one for me and one for you guys, and I can't decide. I'll just show them to you. So the first one, I love the name of this. So it's called Frog Pond, and it is on Sparkle Base, guys. Do they not know me so well? Anyway, so it's on Sparkle Base, and it's called Frog Pond. And again, this is another one of those bases where it's just got that, like, that twist that you can see, and it's so soft and squishy, and I love it. These, I love it. Anyway, so 438 yards per 100 grams. It is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. They sent some little organic honey drops treats. And also some stitch markers. And I don't know if I think she might have handmade these. But they are so pretty. I'm trying to, okay. I didn't want to open this, but I've got to show you guys these stitch markers. You guys. I thought they were sheep, but I think they're monkeys. I don't know. But they're so freaking cute. I think they're monkeys. Look at those. They might be sheep. I don't know. What do I know? But how cute is this? And it coordinates with the yarn, guys. It's orange and green, just like the yarn. Oh my god, so creative. So that's one. And the other one is Sparkalicious Self-Striping. Oh my god, guys. How am I going to choose? I love both so much. These colors. And it's the same base as the last one. And again, she has... Oh, it's sheep. It's definitely sheep. Sorry. I don't know. I think the ears threw me off. Because I thought they were monkeys. But these match the... Like, look at the details on that. It matches the yarn perfectly. Okay, guys. Spoiled Greyhounds of the North on Etsy. Go check them out. They have quite a few colorways in there right now. And I want to order... I think it's called Dragonfire. It's like orange and I believe yellow. And oh my god, it is hot. I love it. I'm probably going to order that this week. I almost ordered it yesterday. Here I go again. I need to be good. I need to be good, guys. But that colorway, oh, I think it's one of this and that one I think are my favorites. The reason why I haven't decided what I'm going to give away yet is because my personality, normally I would go towards this. But I have so many yarns in this. I mean, look, like right there, like purple in here. I have so many purple colorways, and I want to keep this really badly, especially because it's self-striping, and I'm a freak for self-striping. But I love this, and I need more colorways like this. I need more solid, speckledy colorways to coordinate with other things. So what I'm going to do, I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure which giveaway this is going to be a part of, which knit-along or whatever this is going to be a part of yet. But I think I'm going to let the winner decide, and then I'll just keep the one that they don't choose. So I have a friend who is Catherine. Hi, Catherine. Who is a freak for green. So if Catherine wins, I know she'll pick this. So then I will get this one. But if one of you guys win and you like the purple colorway better than the green or the green better than the purple, I'll let you pick. I'm indifferent. I love them both so much. So I would love either one to keep. So yeah, it's for you guys. So they are, and I wanted to mention Spoiled Greyhounds of the North is our shop of the week. And I know I keep saying of the North, and I think I left her a card downstairs. She sent me a beautiful note. They are Spoiled Greyhounds of the North, but on Instagram they're Spoiled Greyhounds, and on Etsy they're also Spoiled Greyhounds. So make sure you go check them out. They're a lovely shop and a lovely couple. And I wanted to mention, I think her husband dyes a lot of these colorways. I think she dyes too, but I think her husband dyed these, or at least one of them, or they dyed them together or something. So it is a husband-wife team, which is really cool, and I love when that happens. Like Lolo did it. Her husband, they have like the Mr. Lolo's colorways, which I love. So anyway, acquisitions. And guess what? I've already inventoried all of these except for the Spoiled Greyhounds of the North because I don't know which one I'm keeping yet. I guess I could inventory them both because I'm going to add that line in my Stash Bash for giveaways. So that leads us to giveaways. So again, every 2 weeks I'm going to draw 3 winners from the Ravelry groups for pattern giveaways. And if there has not been a pattern either donated to the podcast or mentioned in the Plug Your Business /podcast thread, then you guys, the winners, get to pick a pattern, and all 3 winners this week get to pick their own pattern. So I will go ahead and announce that. So the first winner is I pulled from the Stash Down 2017 thread, and that is Bernadette Bear, and that's Bernadette from Middleton, Wisconsin, and she is starting with 127 skeins in our Stash Down, so she's got quite a few to work off of from now to the end of the year. And so Bernadette, if you could get in touch with me on Ravelry and let me know which pattern you would prefer, up to $7 US value, I will get that out to you. Also, we have Yarn Bethy, and that's Beth from Bossier City, Louisiana. And I've talked to Beth several times before, and I'm gonna visit with her when I eventually get my butt down to New Orleans. So she posted in the Show Us Your Whips thread, and she was showing us her first ever Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is in beautiful colors, by the way, so you can go check that out. The third winner is Linsome982, which is from Indiana, and she posted in the podcast chat, and she had asked a while ago about the white bookcase shelf behind me. I'm not sure if she was talking about this one or this one. This one up here, my stepdad, if you haven't watched the previous podcast, he custom made that for me. It was my idea. He helped me do the mask. He put it together, and then my husband and I sanded, painted, and hung it up on the shelf, and then put these little hooks in the bottom. So I need another one, but I'm afraid to ask him. So Mom, if you're watching, could you ask Ray if he'll make me another one? I love you guys. Thanks. Anyway, so then I've got this shelf over here that I've got that I purchased from Home Depot. It's just like a Martha Stewart shelf or something like that. It's the one where it's just a square and you buy the fabric baskets to put in. So anyway, she had asked that quite a while ago, and I know I answered it then, but just in case you guys were wondering. So anyway, that's Linsome982 from Indiana, and she won the 3rd pattern prize this week. So if you 3 could please get in contact with me, and let me know which pattern you want, up to $7 value on Ravelry, I will send that over to you. And also, I mentioned this last week, but I just want to say it again, is that from here on out, starting today, I'm going to write down the number that I ended with when pulling the giveaway prizes. So next week, 2 weeks from now when I pull again, it's going to be the newer chats. So that way we don't have the same winners every week, because unless there's still you can win any of my giveaways, as many as you can, as often as you want, as you do, as long as you're participating. So for example, I didn't realize this until after the podcast last week, but the person that won the May Sock Knit Along also won June's. So, and I think that just goes to, that's just because there haven't been a whole ton of entries last month. Like, so the first month it was like about 15 days longer. So I think we had like about 60 entries. And last month I think it was only like 30 some. So, but I know a lot of you knit socks, so make sure you're going out there in the Ravelry thread and entering your socks, because you have a good chance of winning the July sock prize, which I showed on my last podcast, so if you want to see that, go check it out. But yeah, so those are my 3 winners. We have our year-long sock knit along for July. I'm going to close that thread on August 2nd, which is the day I podcast, the first day I podcast after the end of July. And it's for any socks that you knit in July. So if you finish them before the end of July and you forgot to enter them, that thread will be open until August 2nd. We also have our Speckled Sparkle call, which ends next week. Actually, it technically ends in 3 days, but I'm not going to close the thread until July 18th because that's when I podcast next. Actually, July 19th because that's when I podcast next. And the Speckled Sparkle call gets you so anything you make out of speckled yarn or sparkle yarn or both gets entered into the thread. If you made it out of speckled sparkle yarn, then you can enter it twice. So if you knit something that has speckles and sparkles, please make sure to post your entries twice. Otherwise, you're only going to get the 1 entry because I won't be able to add a number, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. But anyway, make sure to enter it twice if you have both. I don't know if you missed it. I have participated in that. I just didn't post my finished object in the thread. But the shawl that I knit for that was the Changing Staircases, and that was in the Twist Fiber Studio yarns, which was both speckled and sparkled. So, for example, something like that, you could enter twice. And there's no condition on what type of object you can make. So you can make a shawl, you can make socks, you can make a sweater, you can make a hat, gloves, anything. So if you haven't knit something, you still have time because I'm not closing that thread until July 19th. And I think there's only like 13 entries right now. So, and that's going to be a really good prize package as well. I don't think I've showed it yet because I haven't put it together, but it's going to be yarn, a project bag, and another little goodie like some either sock soap or Blueberry Hill soap or stitch markers or scissors or something fun. So make sure that you enter that into the knit along, and it's anything that you knit from June 15th to July 19th when I close the thread. 18th to be safe because I'm going to close it on the 19th. So anything knit from June 15th to July 18th can be entered as long as it's speckled or sparkled or both. Also, we have Stash Down 2017. The threads are now open for that. We have, I don't remember how many, but we have quite a few people that have went in there and declared their stash, which is exciting. I declared mine, 406 skeins, which is ridiculous. My goal is to get down to 350 by the end of the year. That includes knitting and acquisitions. So I not only have to knit 50 skeins, I have to knit 50 skeins plus any acquisitions that come in from today on. I don't think it's going to happen. Wish me luck, guys. Because that's not going to happen. That's a crazy goal. I need to reevaluate my goal. I want to be down to 350, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, anyway, 56 skeins because I'm at 406. Anyway, I have an exciting knit-along announcement. And I just finalized it actually while I was recording the podcast with Levi. So Levi from What the I told you guys I always want to say it. Anyway, Levi from WTF Knitting Podcast and I are hosting a joint knit along together. And it is called Whip It Thursday Call. So it's a Whip It Thursday knit along. So the idea is that every Thursday, at least him and I are, you can knit on it any day of the week, it doesn't matter, but it's going to be called Whip It Thursday. Anyway, so the idea is that one day a week you set aside time to knit on whips that you have languishing around the house. And by languishing, I want to say probably it's been cast on for at least 2 months. If not longer. if you don't have any whips, then I'd say, I talked about this with Levi, and I think what we're going to do is that if you don't have any whips, then you have to cast on something that you really wanted to cast on for like a year or 2 years or 5 years, and you just haven't done it. So that's what we're going to do for that. So Levi doesn't have a Ravelry group, so he wanted to do a knit along, but he needed somebody to host it in their Ravelry group. So I'm going to host this knit along in my Ravelry group as Whip It Thursday call, and he, I believe, is going to host it on Instagram. So he created a hashtag Whip It Thursday KAL, which I'll put all the details on Ravelry. But I'm excited. I'm going to start tomorrow. So tomorrow's Thursday. So tomorrow I am going to pick up my oldest whip, and I'm going to knit on it, which just happens to be the Color Craving Shawl by Stephen West that I showed a few months ago. So I want to say that my oldest whip is a 1.5 years old. I think. Pretty sure. And it's that. So I'm going to work on oldest to newest. And so this knit along is going to run from now until the end of September. But I have a lot of whips, so we'll see. It might be something that I keep doing, or Levi and I keep doing. I'm not going to speak for him because I haven't talked to him about that. But for the first round of at least the giveaway prize on my end, the knit along is going to go through the end of September and starting now. So Whip It Thursday, Cal. I'm excited. This is my first knit along hosting with another podcaster, so it's really exciting. And I'm excited to see what you guys are working on. So make sure that you're using the hashtag Whip It Thursday, Cal, when you're working on those whips. It's exciting stuff. Let's get our names out there, guys. Let's get Levi's name out there. He's an amazing podcaster, man. I love his podcast so much. Like, I literally have to pause his podcast so I can wipe the tears from my eyes. I'm laughing so hard. Or text him and tell him, respond. I text him while I'm watching his podcast. Actually, I do that a lot. Knit for Brains. I message them a lot when I'm watching their podcast too. So anyway, Whip It Thursday call. And the next, also the pattern draw I just did, the next one will be held July 26th. And make sure if you have a podcast, you're letting me know on the Ravelry thread. Last week I pulled a winner and she did get in contact with me, and I'm going to, send that package out on Friday. If you're waiting on a package from me, I think I have, 2 people waiting on giveaway packages from me. And I think it's because they contacted me after I shipped out the other ones. I'll be sending them out probably Friday. It might be Saturday because I'm actually going into the office on Friday, so the mail will most likely run while I'm at work. So if I don't remember to put them in the mailbox before I leave, then it'll be Saturday that they go out. But one winner contacted me about a project bag in my shop that I'm sending her, and then the other one was the podcast winner, so I'm putting together that prize package to send to her. So you guys will be getting that probably next week. We have a couple coupon codes. Fate's Thread is FT First Year 10% off your first purchase of $20 or more through the end of the year. And then Handmade by Zahn, use Thank You 10 on 10% for 10% off your next order. I have a Ravelry question this week. Yay! So this question comes from Frog. I always mess up your Ravelry name. It's Frog It About It. And I just want to say forget about it, but it's Frog It About It. So that's Jack. So hi, Jack. So Jack asked a question. He said, what's the most complicated and intricate thing you've ever made? How did you get so fast at socks? I still don't even have a hoe 2 months later, which for those of you that don't know, a hoe is a half object. I think that was coined by the Grocery Girls. What is the silliest thing you've ever made? Do you knit for your husband? Does he like his knits or wear through them really fast? If you do toe up socks, what bind off do you use? And then he said, I really want to watch the new episode, but my dog wants to eat my neighbor's chicken, so I have to wait. So my dad has chickens and his neighbor has dogs, so I totally know what you're talking about. So I laughed really hard when I read that. But anyway, so to answer your question, the most complicated and intricate thing I've ever made was my, I really haven't knit on something that's been too complicated, and I'm sorry I'm looking down. I'm pulling up the project on Ravelry so I can show it to you. I haven't knit anything that's been too horrible, but I will say that I would say this was my most complicated pattern I've ever made, just because I had messed up on it, and it's lace, and I didn't feel like ripping it back, so I did a workaround where it ended up okay, and you can't tell the mistake, but I'm not a lace knitter, and this is why I only do one lace project a year. But this took me, it feels like it took forever, but it's actually beaded lace shawl, and I don't really have fantastic pictures of it, but I will show you what I have. So this doesn't really showcase the shawl very well because of the way it's hanging. But yeah, so it's beaded lace, and I used Miss Babs, I forget what it's called, but it's like her lace weight. It was the first time I've used Miss Babs yarn, and I really loved it. This is called Taboo, and Boo Knits every year comes out with a knit along, and it's typically a lace knit along around Halloween time. And you can't see the beading, but all those little peacoats have clusters of beads on them. So this is definitely the more intricate pattern. And like I said, it wasn't difficult. It was just my stitch count was off by the time I got down to the border pattern. And this is unblocked, but you can kind of see the shawl shape a little better. But my stitch count was off before I got to the border pattern, so it kind of caused my whole thing to be off, and I had to fudge it a little bit. And when you're fudging lace, it's not easy to fudge in an area that you have to make sure that you're doing your fudging in an area that's not going to mess up the other lace. So, and it's really difficult to pull back. And in fact, I did pull this back once before I got to the bottom, right around the color change section. I pulled it back. So when I got further on and I noticed that there was more mistakes, I was just like, I'm not pulling this back again. I don't enjoy knitting lace. I love how the patterns, and I love how they turn out and how they look, but I'm not a fan of knitting with lace yarn. I have a friend that's pretty much all she does is knit lace yarn. She knits so many lace patterns. Not all she does a lot of knitting, but she knits a lot of lace patterns, and I push myself to do one a year because I do enjoy the finished objects, and I do have lace weight yarn that I want to use, and so I do try to do at least one a year, but not a fan. Anyway, so that was the most intricate thing that I've ever made. How did I get so fast at socks? Well, that's a good question. A lot of people think that I'm a really fast knitter, which I guess compared to some I am. I put up a video on Instagram and at the end of one of my other podcasts that shows how I knit, and honestly, I don't think it's necessarily that I'm fast at knitting socks. the way I knit, and it's like, woo, woo, which you can look up those videos if you want to see. It just takes away, I knit with my right hand. I'm not taking my hand off the needle, moving the yarn around and knitting, putting my hand back on the needle, so my hand stays here, so all I have to do is kind of pivot, which makes it me be able to knit my stitches really quickly. As far as socks go, I think the reason why they seem to go so quick for me is because I do knit vanilla socks. I don't knit very many pattern socks just because I knit a lot of self-striping, and I don't think there's a lot of patterns that don't show up very well on socks. And let's face it, even if it's not self-striping, most of the yarns I use for sock yarn are going to be darker colors because white obviously is going to get dirty quicker. And you don't see patterning as well in darker colors. Most darker colors. There are some yarns that have better stitch definition, but for the most part, Fingering weight sock yarn is not good for showing off patterns. So for me to spend all that time knitting a patterned sock is kind of a waste of my time, because it's going to slow me down, because typically when you're doing a patterned sock, you're either going to have a cable or a purl stitch somewhere. And unless it's like a ribbing, which I do rib socks too. I did a pair for my dad for Father's Day. I did like a 6x2 rib, which I got the idea from Yarn Hoarder because she made a few and they looked fantastic. But anyway, the time spent reading the pattern, memorizing pattern, typically they're not hard to memorize, but just something other than a knit stitch going round and round and round is a waste of my time, because you're not going to see the pattern anyway. So I don't normally knit pattern socks, which is kind of unfortunate, because there's a lot of, like, I would love to knit. Mina Phillip has so many pattern socks, and I would love to knit every single one of them. I just don't think I would ever wear them, and if I did knit them and wore them, I wouldn't be able to see the pattern anyway. So I feel like I could knit like a pair and a half of socks for the amount of time it would take me to make one pattern sock. So anyway, I stick with vanilla. I know my recipe in my head, so I just go bing, bing, boom. I set aside a lot of knitting time, when I cast on a pair of socks, unless I cast on multiple socks at a time, which, for example, a month or two ago, I cast on like 4 socks at a time. I knew that those 4 socks were going to be mostly whips that I could just pick up and go. But typically when I cast on a pair of socks, I'm casting it on to finish it. I'm not casting it on to have as a whip. So my goal, like, a lot of times I can, if I cast it on a Friday night, I'll have it done by Sunday, as long as I don't have a busy weekend. If I cast it on a Monday, they'll be done by Thursday or Friday. So it does only take me a couple nights of knitting to get a sock done, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just the process. It's just like, you do your cuff, then you do your leg, then you do your heel, then you do your foot, then you do your toe. And each night I'm doing a different step. So for example, well, it's not really a good example, because the socks that I showed in my whip section today, I cast on yesterday, and I'm to the, well, I guess it is, I did the cuff and the leg, and I did do one at a time, so it's more of a quicker gratification. If I was doing 2 at a time, I probably would have just had the cuff and about 10 or 20 rows of the leg done. But anyway, so I have the cuff and the leg. So tonight I'll do the heel and the heel and some of the foot, maybe finish the foot, but maybe not, because I want to spin and I want to crochet tonight too, so we'll see. But and then tomorrow I'll finish the toe and cast on the second sock. So for example, one cuff to cast on takes me like half an hour to do a cuff, and then to do the leg it takes me about 2 hours, and then the heel takes me about 20 minutes, and then to do the foot it takes me another 2 hours, and then the toe takes me another 20 minutes. So for one sock. So let's see, we said like there's about 5 hours, less than that, 4 or 5 hours in a sock. So it takes me about 8 or 10 hours to knit a pair of socks. So if that tells you, it's not necessarily that I'm knitting the socks fast, it's that I have a lot of knitting time. So there's the answer to that. Sorry, that was long and drawn out. I love these questions. I love getting into the details of everything. So if you don't, you can just skip forward. But anyway, so your next question was, what is the silliest thing I've ever made? I don't really have anything silly that I made. Again, my knitting time is important to me, so I want it to be productive. Not to say that making something silly isn't productive. I made hats. You will not see me knitting very many hats. I don't know what it is with my hat gauge, but I'm horrible with hats. I can never figure it out. They're either too small or too big, no matter what I do. I don't know why I can't figure out gauge on hats. So I made a hat, and it was supposed to be a girl hat for a woman, and I wish I had it. It turned out to be like the size of a kid. It barely fit my nephew, but thank God it did because he wore it, and thank God I made it in like this green color. It was like a hunter green color so that he could wear it because he loved it. I gave it to him. He thought I knit it for him, and he wore it all summer long. And I say summer because I knit it in the summer, and he just wore it all summer long. He barely took it off his head. So, yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing. So, I had to take a break because although I haven't knit anything silly, there are a few silly things that I do want to knit for my husband. And he's actually bought me this like a year or so ago, and I haven't knit anything from it. But I need to because they're cute. It's called Knit for Nerds. I got this book. He got this book for me. It's called Knit for Nerds, and it's 30 projects, science fiction, comic books, and fantasy. So, these projects, if you're a nerd like we are, you're going to love these. So let me find some fun stuff. So I want to make him these. This is called the Hobbit Feet Slippers. And I'm going to show you. So, literally you knit a pair of like chunky slippers or worsted weight slippers, and then you stick some mohair on it to make it look like hair. That's so disgusting, but my husband wants these, and I'm probably going to end up making it for him. So gross. They do have some pretty stuff in here too, like, I forgot about this. Like, this is called the Summer Queen Shawl. It's actually really pretty. Says, this lace shawl is inspired by the urban fantasy novel Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr. I don't think I've ever read that or heard of it. Let me find some other silly stuff in here. They do have felted items in here too. They have Space Princess hats, which I showed on the cover. Padme's battle cape, which is actually kind of neat. That would be good for fires, I think. It's just like a kind of half poncho thing. It's halved in the front. The Next Generation sweater, because I am a huge Star Trek fan. They have the Trek Girl dress. And these are all knitted items. So these are fun. Of course, they have a time traveler scarf from Doctor Who. Sorry, I'm trying to see what the inspiration for some of these are. Look at these. They're so silly. Super awesome, fantastic, mega super cute, manga leg warmers. Ooh, these are super cute socks. I love those. Tank Girl socks. They have felting in here. For example, this hat is a felted hat you can make. What else? They have some fluffies in here. They have the Catwoman hat, which reminds me of the pussy hats that's been going around. Book Wizard, which is designed like, obviously it's Harry Potter themed. It's a little pouch, like a sachet thing. You can knit a tie. Big Bang Guy sweater vest. So it even has like Big Bang Theory sweater vest. And the girls' sweater vest. The Real Genius sweater. What is this? Yeah, so check that out, Knitting for Nerds. It's by Joan of Dark, aka Tony Carr. So check that out. It's pretty cool. Especially if you're a nerd like me, you like stuff like that. It's funny because I've been showing a lot of books and magazines the last couple of podcasts, and I don't really knit from books or magazines. So I need to start, especially because I have quite a good collection. So anyway, silliest thing I've ever made was really not really silly, but the silliest thing I'm ever going to make is going to be those Hobbit socks for my husband. Oh my god, it was ridiculous. Anyway, do I knit for my husband? Does he like his knits or wear through them really fast? Okay, so I have this battle with my husband. I want to knit him things. He asks for things, but he doesn't appreciate these things. I don't know what it is. Like, he's supportive and he has appreciation for the art, but when it comes down to the item, he's like, I've knit him gloves, and he wanted finger gloves first of all, and I had never knit mittens or gloves or anything, and they had the holes right here, and I sewed them up, and he complained about the fit, and I'm like, I mean, I want him to be honest, but at the same time, like, the first thing out of his mouth was kind of a complaint, which kind of irritated me. I knit him a hat and a scarf, and he never wore, I knit him a whole set, and he never wore any of it. I knit him, and that just really put a bad taste in my mouth from the beginning. So then I knit him a Seahawks hat this year, and I actually messed up again. It was too small. I hate me and hats. So I knit him a Seahawks hat this year. It was too small. I re-knit it and made it bigger, and it fit him really well, and it was actually really good, especially considering it was color work. And put a little pom-pom on it, which he's been begging me to say this now. I said a bonbon. It's not a pom-pom, it's a bonbon. Anyway, so I knit him that hat, and he wore it like once, which, to be fair, this past winter was pretty mild, and we work from home a lot, so he doesn't really go out. So I guess that's kind of an excuse. But he's asked for socks, and I've been begging to knit him socks, because that's one thing that I can whip out that that I wouldn't mind if he didn't wear, because you know, they can just be regifted or whatever. But he hasn't wanted any, and so now he's begging for a shorty pair of socks, like literally, like every day. When are you gonna cast on my socks? Are you doing my socks yet? Why are you knitting on that? Why aren't you knitting my socks? So I guess I'm gonna knit him a pair of socks. We'll see what happens. As of right now, I say he's not very knit worthy. So I wish he was, because I love knitting for other people. I love knitting for my dad. So we'll see what happens. And does he wear them really fast? No, because he never wears them. Again, he hasn't had socks from me yet, so we'll see what happens. And if you do toe-up socks, what bind-off do you use? I have done toe-up socks in the past, and I can't remember the bind-off that I used, but I will say that check out, if you haven't heard of her, Michelle from knitpearlhunter.com, go check out her website, because she has a lot of great patterns, tutorials, and videos on there, and she has some really great stretchy bind-off methods, especially for toe-up socks. So if you're looking for a really good bind-off method, go check out her website. Also, Grandma's Stretchy Bind-Off, I think it's called. I use that for pretty much any stretchy bind-off that I need. So what I do, if I need it to be stretchier, what I'll do is I'll knit a stitch, slip it back to the left needle, knit 2 together, slip it back, knit a stitch, slip it back, knit 2 together, slip it back, knit a stitch, slip it back, knit 2 together. And what that does is it just creates an extra stitch in between each bind off. It does take a lot of yarn to bind off, so you need to make sure you have plenty for your bind off, but it makes it super, super stretchy. And when I say super, super stretchy, I mean super, super stretchy. That's what I used on my So Faded sweater, because the first bind off I did was supposed to be a stretchy bind off, but it was still too tight. So I actually undid the bind off and re-knit the bind off doing that. So if you're looking for a super stretchy way to bind off, use that. Yeah, so thank you so much for the question, Jack. I really enjoyed answering them. I hope everybody else enjoyed hearing the answers. If you have any questions for me, whether it's knitting related or personal or whatever, just make sure to go out and put it on the thread. And if I don't address it in the thread, I will address it on the podcast. So that leads us to shop news. Oh my god, guys, I'm so excited to share this stuff with you. I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so if you're not interested in shop news, oops, this is the last knitting content I'm going to have for this episode. Sorry, my dog was underneath the table and I accidentally touched her and she jumped. I think she was dead asleep. But anyway, so if you're not interested in the shop, this is the last knitting content thing I have. After this, I'm going to talk about some podcasts in my week in review. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. If you are interested, so I still have some bags in the shop. I have baby bags. I have 2 queen bee. I have baby bags. I have 2 worker bee, and I have 1 beehive. I have 2 out there, but actually one of them's already going away for a giveaway. So 1 beehive bag. The drawstring one's still available for the ladybugs. I don't have any queen bee. I keep selling out of my queen bee, so apparently I need to focus on making queen bee bags for the shop. But I haven't been doing a whole lot of sewing this week. Actually, I have done none because I've been dyeing yarn, guys. And this is something I think I mentioned before. I used to dye fiber and sell it, and I loved doing it. I just didn't have the time for it, and it wasn't something I loved doing at the time. I've completely changed. I love it. And I purchased some yarn, and I have some yarn that I'm gonna show you guys that is actually gonna be added to my shop. I'm so excited. I've got tags coming, so as soon as the tags arrive, I'll be shipping these out if they sell. So if you're interested, go out and check it out. So before I show you the ones that are going into the shop, I did want to show you these because I'm super proud of my niece and nephew. So they were over this weekend to hang out, and they come to our house quite often. And it was, and I normally try to do some fun stuff with them, but it was actually really super rainy out and stormy. So on one of the days, and I wanted to dye up some yarn, so I taught them how to dye. And guys, let me tell you, these are future artisans or artists because these colors. So first, I'm going to show you the one my nephew dyed. Check that out. I might try to recreate this for the shop. So he dyed green, blue, black, and purple. And he hasn't picked a name for this yet. I did tell them they could name him because, you know, it's fun. So he dyed this, and I'm going to knit him, I think he wanted socks out of this. So I think I'm going to knit him some socks out of that. And then my niece dyed, and this one I'm definitely going to recreate for the shop. She's already given me her permission. But she used a bunch of different dyes, and when she was doing it, I was like, don't know how that's going to work out, but this is her skein. Guys, how talented is she? Look at this. She did such a good job. I love this so much. So she wants a hat with a pom-pom, a bonbon. So my husband has them calling them bonbons now. So I'm thinking about finding some version of the sockhead hat that has a pom-pom on it and knitting this up for her because she does want a hat out of it. So yeah, if you have any fingering weight hat ideas with pom-poms, let me know. It doesn't have to be with pom-poms because you can just stick one on any hat really, but if you have any of your favorite fingering weight patterns, let me know. So this one she has named, and I was a little hesitant because I do plan on recreating this for the shop, and I was a little hesitant to let her name this, but I did tell them they could pick a name just because I know a lot of, look, oh my god, guys, this is amazing. So, I'm so proud of her. Anyway, I was a little hesitant to let her name it this because it is quite a popular colorway name, but she wants to name this Unicorn Rainbow. So this will definitely be Unicorn Rainbow. So yeah, how beautiful is that? So I'm going to be dyeing this up for the shop. I know how she did. I know what color she used. So, and I actually helped her with the color placement. So, I know how to recreate this. So this will be going into the shop. Not this one, but I will, when I get more yarn in, because I am out of bases right now, but when I get more yarn in, this will be going up. She also dyed up these two colorways, which will not be going into the shop. And if they do, they will be one of a kinds. She hasn't named these ones, and they're good, they're pretty, and I like them, but I told her to pick one of the three that she dyed up, to put in there. My nephew only dyed one, and then he lost interest, but she was pretty interested in it. So she dyed up this one, and I love that pop of light pink. So again, she did a really great job on this. And then she also dyed up this one. So again, she has an eye for color for sure. This is so pretty. This reminds me of like a nebula or something. I don't know that I could recreate these two anyway, but either these will, I have to ask her either, most likely, no, I'm not going to sell these because she created them, so I'm going to make something for her out of these, obviously. She was talking about having me sell these. She's like, I'm making these for your shop. But I'm not gonna sell these because they're too special. So I might try to do one that's similar but a little bit different from this one because I do like the way this pink and purple worked up. In fact, actually I have one, so never mind. So anyway, those are the ones they dyed. So now I'm going to show you the ones I dyed for the shop. And I'm not going to tell you the name of these yet. I have names for all of them, but I'm going to wait until I list them in the shop to show you, to tell you. So this one right here, and it's got, like, it's light pink with some purple and some yellow. I like it. It's not my favorite, but it wasn't. This was an experiment, and I think it turned out well. And I'll probably recreate this if people are interested. So I've got that one. I've got this one, which this is going to be some sort of cotton candy colorway because it reminds me of cotton candy. So it's really pretty. I like it. And then I have this one. And my husband named this one already. He picked the name for this one. But I love it. It's so bright and bold. And you know how I am with my colors. So that's going into the shop. This one is not going into the shop, but I will recreate it for the shop. I'll probably put it up as a die to order if you guys are interested. But this particular skein is already used. This is inspired by my husband. I told you he's a Seahawks fan. I think you get better colors back here. But he's a Seahawks fan. And so the colors for this didn't turn out quite Seahawksy. The green is really good. The blue should be a deeper blue for Seahawks, which I can fix. But these are what I'm going to be making his socks out of. This is why he demanded socks. He saw this color and he was like, I want socks out of that. And he wants shorties. So he will be getting shorties out of this. A couple pairs. But this colorway will be going into the shop. Just not this skein. I don't have any dyed up for the shop right now. This one is my favorite one that I dyed up. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love this so much. The colors show better back here. But guys, this is definitely going into the shop. But I need to make one for myself too. I'm gonna show you what it looks like unskeined. I had so much fun doing this one. It is definitely one of my favorites. So this will be in the shop too. As a lot of these will have single skeins in there, but I'll probably just put them all up as dyed to order. Whoever gets the first one will actually be ready to ship, just because I have more yarn coming and I used all my yarn. for this dyeing project, and I'll show you why, because I also have some solids that I'm going to be putting up. So again, they look better back here, but I'll show a close up. So I've got this tealy blue, and it doesn't, the picture on in the shop will be much more accurate. This is more green. I don't know why, but my blues just don't show up right. And maybe it's just my iPad, maybe it's showing right on your screen. This is definitely more teal than it is blue. I know it's showing like light blue, but it's a very vibrant teal. So I've got that. I've got this purple. Oh my gosh. Oh, guys. Colors. Green. Oh, this is such a bright green. I love it. I've got blue. This is the color blue. When I redo, this is more of what I'm hoping this is going to turn out like. So this one, the dyes that I mixed were a little bit different. So I changed the recipe and I got these. So this colorway, when I dye it again, will look more like this. So it'll be bolder. My favorite, of course, this is like headache pink. I love it. I love it so much. And of course I did a black. This is actually, yeah, it's black. So like, look at that. Oh my gosh. Even if you needed like a full, like 6 skein project, like how beautiful would this be? Or even like 5 skeins. Or that. Oh, guys, look. Oh, I'm in love. Oh my goodness. These are the ones that are going into the shop. All the other ones are, I have to wait for my yarn to come in, to dye these up again. Again, this is the one that my niece created that I'm going to recreate. Look at that. Oh, okay. Now I'm like wanting to keep them all so that I can make a shawl or something. Anyway, they're going into the shop for sure. That's my shop news, guys. So if you're interested in checking that out, go check out my shop at honeybeenknitsco.etsy.com. Don't feel obligated to buy anything. This is just something that I'm having fun doing, and if I can make a little bit of money back in the process, then I will use that to put towards the podcast and more shop stuff, ideas. And I do have some fiber, like spinning fiber, if you're interested in that. I do have some that I want to dye up. I'm not I want it to be this week, but we'll see what happens. It's my first week back at work, and I'm spending all evening. Today is Wednesday afternoon, and I'm spending all evening editing and uploading this podcast. So we'll see what I get done. Weekend review. So I'll start with podcasts I've been watching. Of course, I watched Levi's WTF knitting podcast, which I said I said what the earlier, and hopefully I cut that out so you didn't see it. But WTF knitting, he is so, like, his projects really inspire me. So he showed some sock blank socks that he made for his mom that were gorgeous, and he's right, grocery girls do turn everything into gold. I went to go purchase some, and I was like, no, I have like 5 or 6 sock blanks now, and I don't need any more right now. But I will eventually, if I use all my sock blanks, I will go out and buy some from similar to the one that he had, because I do really like that colorway, and I think it'd look awesome in a shawl. So we'll see. Anyway, WTF knitting, I caught up on a lot of podcasts this week. It was more of a podcast week. I mentioned before that I typically go through phases of TV shows and podcasts. So either I'll binge watch TV shows or I'll binge watch podcasts, and this week was definitely a podcast week. I was a few weeks behind on a few of them. Very little I caught up with. Skein Game I caught up with. Knit for Brains I was already caught up with, but I'm in the middle of their latest episode. I got interrupted when I was watching it last night. Grocery Girls I caught up with. I had 2 of their regular episodes to catch up with, and I had like 3 or 4 of their Off Our Needles podcasts to catch up with. Knitting Expat, I had a few of hers. So this evening, if I have time, most likely I'll be watching myself during editing. But I want to finish Knit for Brains. I want to get caught up on the Girls in the Urine Cafe, because I started from the beginning and I haven't gotten much further on that. I think I have like 4 or 5 more episodes to get completely caught up. And then I have some new podcasts I want to watch. So Allie Makes, she has a podcast. She had 2 episodes, but I think I messaged her last night because I was looking for her first episode to add it to my queue. And she's like, oh, I accidentally deleted it. And I said, I know all about first episode troubles. If you'll recall, I had to record my entire first episode again. So anyway, so Allie Makes has an episode up. There's the Defiant Knitter podcast. I've watched a few of her episodes, but I want to go back to the beginning and watch them forward. And a few other new ones that I want to check out. So there's that. And as far as what I'm watching, I haven't really watched a whole lot of it, but what's in my Netflix queue right now is How to Get Away with Murder. Still working on the 3rd season of that, and Family Guy. My husband and I started watching Family Guy from the beginning, which is funny because I think it came out in 98 or 99, so there's a lot of 90s references in there that I don't think we really picked up on when you're just watching reruns on TV. So we've been watching Family Guy and reading Harry Potter. I didn't get much further in my book. My goal was to read an hour per day, but between dyeing and spinning and knitting and family and work, it just didn't happen. So yeah, I've been feeling a lot better. I know I didn't talk about it last week, but I think the first day that I felt back to normal was Saturday morning. This past Saturday. So I feel great now. Yesterday, and I don't know if it's because I've missed a few doses of my medication. I'm back on it now. But yesterday morning I woke up with a complete anxiety attack. I had heartburn in the middle of the night, which it's the first time that I've had heartburn since my surgery. And I know why. My husband made hamburgers the night before, and I've been staying away from most beef products and greasy foods because I don't digest beef very well to begin with, so I don't normally eat a whole lot of beef. And unless it's like super, super fresh. Like if it's like, I have to like go to the butcher, get it that day. Like not Kroger, like we have a meat market. I have to go to the meat market, get it, and cook it like that same day, that night, for me to be able to digest it well. But anyway, so this beef was not, it was frozen from Costco, so it wasn't the best beef, and they were really good hamburgers. My husband makes good hamburgers. But anyway, so I woke up with like heartburn, acid reflux. One thing I've noticed since I've gotten my gallbladder taken out, my heartburn is more acid reflux now. I used to get acid reflux as a kid, and I never really got heartburn. But then when I was having my gallbladder issues, I would describe it as heartburn pain. Now I'm back to acid reflux again, which I know is just from what I'm eating. So I know it's manageable. But I woke up with that, and I felt a little nauseous, and then I started getting really anxious. I don't know why. I was having a lot of problems because of my gallbladder, and my head goes to weird places. So when they took out when I had my surgery and they took it out, I think I expected that to get rid of all the symptoms I was having. And so when I started having this anxiety issue yesterday morning, I was kind of like, what if I have something else wrong with me? Or I'm kind of like, I'm always thinking like, I'm not really a hypochondriac, but I do have these thoughts, and they're just thoughts. I let them float on by and keep moving. I try not to pay any attention to them, but every once in a while there's a thought that will just stick in my brain, and I know it's irrational, but I can't get the thought out of my head. So I did have a little bit of an anxiety attack yesterday, thinking that there was something else wrong when it was literally just indigestion. So I felt fine the rest of the day. Like I said, my niece and nephew were over this week. We went we took them bowling my husband had a work outing, and we went bowling, and they had a bunch of fun doing that. I couldn't really participate because I was still recovering. We went to Kings Island on Sunday and went swimming, and I got burnt. I put sunblock on, but we had my other nephews with us, and my one nephew just turned 1 and my other one just turned 2, so they're babies. And they were really anxious to like get in the water, and so we had them changed and put their sunblock on. And my husband and I were like, oh, we need to put sunblock on ourselves, so we like put our sunblock on real quick. But then they and my older niece and nephew wanted to go swim, and so like we just went straight into the water and didn't let it soak in. So all the kids were fine because their sunblock had time to soak in, and me and my husband got pretty burnt. So me more so than him because I'm fairer skinned than he is. But at least it's turning, oh my gosh, you can't tell. I'm so pale that you can't even tell, but it's turning into a tan. Anyway, Kings Island Sunday, and just been hanging around the house. I've been working. That's pretty much it. I've been working from home the last 3 days. I go into the office tomorrow and Friday. And then I have the weekend. That's it. My husband is going to game night tonight, so I have the house to myself again. And I'm going to clean up, grab some dinner, and edit the podcast, and just kind of chill out till he gets home. So thank you guys so much for joining me and sticking around if you're still here. I know today's episode is probably my longest one ever. I hope that doesn't say 56. It can't be 3 hours. There's no way. Anyway, it's my longest podcast ever, but I had a lot to talk about, and I really enjoyed chatting with you guys today. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Make sure that you're entering in your socks and your sparkled and speckled knits. And also, don't forget, tomorrow is Whip It Thursday call. Tomorrow's Whip It Thursday. So get out your old whips and get ready to knit. Oh my god, that's so stupid. See you guys. Have a good week. Bye.